Today we're at accad's motion capture studio where Brent Haley is going to show us the basics of wireless virtual reality. Let's check it out. Hi Brent.
Hi Chris.
So how do we get started on our path to virtual reality?
So today for the virtual reality project, we're using the motion capture studio to track a hat as it moves through space. And the way that works is that the 14 cameras around the top of the room are going to look and create two-dimensional images that only really see these reflective balls. By taking the hat out there, right now we're going to calibrate it so that you know which way is the view vector for it, which way is the view direction for it, which way is up, that kind of stuff.
Great, well let's get started.
All right. In the most basic mode, the person wears a single hat, and so we're going to calibrate that hat and get it set up so that as it moves around in real time, the system can find where it's located. And then the next part is to tell it what each of the markers are. So I'm telling it that there's a marker on the left front, the right front, the left back, the right back, the very front of the hat.
So then once the data is calibrated and we can actually see you moving around with the hat, where do we go from there?
Okay. Yeah, so this one is going to be, it's tracking your positions of the hat as you're moving around, and then it's going to go from this computer over to this computer across our network, and then this one's going to be receiving input about the hat's position and orientation out on the floor, and it's going to be used to move the camera around inside of a virtual environment. Right now, the current environment, this is actually a 3D model of the motion capture studio out there. The wireless transmitter signal is going to get sent to a receiver, which is on the back of this A-frame right here. And then that's getting powered by one power pack. There's a second power pack that goes to a pair of glasses through which you can see the image.
This is my ticket to my new world.
accad is a research center for graduate students and faculty who are interested in the areas of technology and the arts, specifically computer graphics and animation. accad as a center is funded by the College of the Arts at the university, but the College of the Arts has been very gracious in offering the students, the graduate students at the whole university, the ability to come and study here and work on research projects. So we have students from computer science, from architecture, from dance, from art, from design, from theater, depending on what their interests are and how technology relates to what it is they're making and they're doing as artists and as scientists. The idea behind accad came from computer graphics pioneer Charles Surrey, who's an emeritus professor now at Ohio State. And a long time ago, in the late 60s and early 70s, he realized that computer graphics could only exist if artists and scientists collaborated. So we continue that tradition here with artists and scientists working together. And accad is really one of the few places in the world where we can say that artists and scientists work under the same roof together, and we believe that our work only exists and is as good as it is because we have that collaboration. Well, this piece that I'm showing here is a piece that we did with the Burpee Museum of Natural History in Rockford, Illinois, and it was actually recreating a dinosaur that they had discovered, whose name was Jane. She is a T-Rex, and we worked with a team of about 10 computer scientists and artists recreating Jane. The scientist part was building facial systems that allowed the muscles of the dinosaur to move when Jane walked and when she roared. And the artists, of course, designed Jane, these beautiful textures, the backgrounds, the movements. They animated her, they built her as a virtual puppet. Making animation is sort of our tradition, so we've been making 3D animation for a long time, and many of our alumni are working in the feature animation business out in Hollywood. But we also stretch our muscles and move into what we call physical computing, which is really looking at the way technology can create new kinds of interfaces for people. We're interested in stereo graphics. We're working in motion capture, which means we're putting markers on people and tracking where their motion is. Wireless VR means wireless virtual reality. And we wanted to use our very expensive motion capture system by adapting very inexpensive equipment to be able to actually walk around in virtual environments. So for about $1,000, we put together some hardware, and we wrote the software that allows you to go into virtual models and walk around in real scale and examine and experience these places. So we've built a model of the Sistine Chapel that you can visit in real scale and get a sense of what it's like to be inside the Sistine Chapel, and it's all based on what we know are the architectural measurements of the chapel, as well as what's inside the chapel.
So Brent, what are some real-world applications for motion capture such as this?
Well, I think the most direct example would be, we had some people come in from an architecture firm. They had designed an environment to preview it so that they could see what it would look like inside of three-dimensional space ahead of time, and before actually going ahead and building a model of it.
The graphics industry just keeps growing, and it's amazing. Students now can pretty much make their own jobs in the graphic industry. Lots of our students go and work in films, but the gaming industry is even bigger than the film industry is, and also students can be independent animators and filmmakers. And everywhere we go, we see graphics now. We see it every night on television, we see it at the movies, we see it when we're on the web and just looking for information, but graphics help us to understand complex information. And it's everywhere, and we're beginning to be able to read that just as well as we read books.